Are those my shades? What happened?
Alex?
Where were they? In your shoe? The whole time? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Alex, aka Alex the Vagabond. I just woke up. I had a coffee, hence the reason that I'm speaking at a million miles a minute. But it's like day 4 for us in New Zealand. We took a little bit of a vacation for a few days. I know that's kind of ironic, seeing as how we're travel vloggers. This is Carrie Rad, my fiance. She's eating pretzels for breakfast because it's van life. And you don't really eat real meals, you just snack all the time. Are you having fun so far?
I am.
Yeah?
This is our first morning after our first evening of van lifing. And I'm feeling pretty good.
This will be our home for the next 2 weeks. It's a Toyota Hi-Ace, probably late 90s model.
This is our couch area slash sleeping area slash living area. We can eat here. I actually quite love this. So you can swing it around. You can have dinner like this across from each other. And then you could just put it back and use it as a side table if you'd like.
It's also removable, so you can unscrew it there, put it on the ground.
The wood plank here folds back, and then you move these pillows and you create a little bed situation, and it's quite large actually.
Here's the like cooking. So there's dirty water, gray water I think they call it.
This is how you pump the water. It's not easy.
That's the clean water. We've got some utensils and such, some dishwashing stuff. We're gonna be driving this thing essentially from Auckland all the way down to Christchurch. We'll be stopping along the west coast. We're gonna take the ferry across from Wellington to Picton a little bit later in the journey. But today the goal is leave Rotorua and make our way to Lake Taupo. We're gonna do a little bit of fly fishing, and then the day after tomorrow, in the next video, we're gonna be doing the Tongariro crossing. So join us, stick around, it's gonna be fun. That's pretty much it. So I think on that note, it's time to get the hell out of here. This is probably one of the most touristy places on the North Island. It's also nicknamed the Sulphur City because it's essentially New Zealand's most geothermally active location. There's a huge like sulfur vent over there that leaks into the lake, creates this really beautiful effect, but it does make the whole city smell a little bit like rotten eggs. But that being said, it's still a beautiful place to visit. If you're into mountain biking, this is one of the best places to do that in New Zealand. But over the years, it has become a little bit popular with tourists. The Maori revered Rotorua's geothermal waters. They actually called it Wai o Tapu, or sacred waters, and there are many places to bathe if you're into hot springs. But unfortunately, we're not gonna have too much time hanging out here. We're just stopping through, but if you do come to Rotorua, it's definitely worth stopping in, checking out. But we're gonna be hopping in the car and driving down to Taupo. Well, we've made it to Lake Taupo area. The lake is just over on the other side of the road from us. So Lake Taupo has tons of different rivers and streams that feeds into it. It's one of the largest lakes in New Zealand, and it's the largest lake in the North Island of New Zealand. But we're surrounded by this beautiful forest. We have some pine trees, we've got native bush, so we can hike up footpaths along the river, and there's plenty of really good fly fishing. So we're gonna set up our rods and throw on some waders and then take a little hike up the river, see if we can't catch any fish. We have managed to get all switched over. We're in our waders. It's hot. It's a really nice summer day. We're here in the beginning of March, but Kind of having a little bit of a heat wave here. Super fun being able to share this with Carrie. She's also an avid fly fisher, but has never fished in New Zealand.
It's really nice because it's super still right now. And in New Zealand, it's usually quite windy, so we're really lucky right now. We just have to be super quiet because I guess this water here is really, really, really clear, so we have to go in stealth mode. One thing about fly fishing is there are a lot of little tedious tasks to get to the good part of the day, which is actually fishing. But there's a lot of little things you have to do to get there. That's all worth it in the end.
Like Carrie said, fly fishing can be kind of a pain in the butt because there's a lot of steps, there's a lot of knots that you need to know, you need to understand all of your equipment, but essentially the reason you have the big long rod and all of the line is because you're using the weight of the fly line, this, to catapult your line out when you're essentially loading the rod and unloading it to cast. Whereas with a traditional spinning rod, you just kind of like flip the switch on the thing, throw some weight on there and chuck it. This kind of requires a little more finesse, and the goal is to take your fly, which is called a fly because it's actually imitating a type of fly or insect, to land on the water and imitate that insect so that the fish thinks that your fly is actually a real fly and eats it. Sounds simple. Trust me, it's not. Okay, well, it's about 6 p.m. We've been on the river now for about 2 hours. It's just absolutely beautiful. There's all sorts of birds. It's like a little shag flying overhead. But the tuis are just making the coolest sounds. The tui bird is an indigenous bird to New Zealand, but they just have the most unique call. Their sound is just incredible. There's been a bunch of tuis up in the trees here talking back and forth. A lot of action, a lot of fish rising for dry flies, but they're kind of selective, and we haven't been to a fly shop yet, so we're using flies that we have from back home in California. Carrie's had about 3 or 4 strikes. She's hooked 1 fish. I've yet to hook any, gotten a couple of strikes. I've been kind of mixing and matching, trying different flies. But it's just an absolutely beautiful place, and it feels so good to be back out here on the river. So zen.
I got one, but he got away. But I set the right way, which is good. But I didn't reel him in the right way. But that's one step further than not being able to set correctly, so I'm happy with that.
Can you get the camera, baby? Whew, nice, beauty. There you go. Oh, I lost him. Good, he's
Good,
gone.
buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a long day. It's been a super long day, but it's been a really fun day, and hopefully you all enjoyed it as much as I did. I had a great time. Beautiful part of New Zealand up here in the central part of the North Island. Lake Rotorua, Lake Taupo. I've been in New Zealand a lot of times over my life. My dad's from New Zealand. I'm a Kiwi citizen as well as an American citizen. I studied abroad here, lived down in Dunedin. I came back and did essentially every single touristic experience you could do during the Biggest Baddest Bucket List back in 2013. And this trip is kind of like the opportunity to revisit New Zealand and really get off of the tourist track, the beaten path, and do a lot more outdoorsy activities. Tomorrow, on that note, we will be heading to the Tongariro Crossing. It's one of New Zealand's great walks. It's been called the best day hike in New Zealand and potentially the best day hike in the world. We're going to be crossing up and over a volcano. It's going to be really, really awesome, but it's a long hike. I think it's definitely 12 plus miles. Tomorrow morning, we're getting picked up. You have to take a shuttle, essentially drops you off at one side and picks you up on the other side of the hike. The shuttle picks us up at 6 a.m. sharp here in the little caravan park. So we have to try to get some sleep. We have to be totally prepared. So I'm gonna put the camera down. I'm gonna start packing, get all of my hiking stuff together, prep all my camera gear for a big day tomorrow, but it's gonna be a super fun one. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Alex, aka Alex the Vagabond. Right now I am in the heart of Wellington. I'm in the left bank, right off of Cuba Street, which is kind of the pedestrian-only nightlife, restaurant, shopping district. And it's about 8:30 in the morning. We're staying in a cute little Airbnb, although there's some strange light choices. I don't know, maybe this is like the party spot? Probably, judging from the noises coming out of downstairs last night. But today we have a big day in front of us. We're gonna be hopping a ferry from Wellington to Picton. We're gonna be crossing from the North Island of New Zealand down to the South Island of New Zealand. Tomorrow, the whole adventure begins in the South Island. We're gonna be checking out the Nelson Lakes National Park region, spending some time up there, hot springs, fly fishing, hiking, great scenery. It should be really rad.
I got the heirloom tomatoes on sourdough toast, and I got a side of eggs. And a side of bacon, but they thought it was for you.
They should know better. I usually need 3 coffees in the morning anyways, so this is actually perfect. I just have 3 flat whites with each of their beans. Looks like 2 of them are from Rwanda and the other one is like a blend. And then I got an Eggs Benedict with brisket. I'm a very happy camper right now. And we didn't get a ticket. Yes. We've just popped into New World, had to get some supplies before we head over to queue up for the ferry. Supposedly people start queuing like at least 2.5 to 3 hours beforehand because there's quite a lot of cars that fit onto these large ferry ships. But we're gonna head over there now. We're about 2 hours early and we shall see. Carrie, you just ate. What'd you get? What did you get? A little custard donut, yummy. When you come and visit New Zealand, you can either fly to the South Island from Wellington or Auckland or any number of airports in the North Island. Most people head to Queenstown or Christchurch as starting off points, but it's kind of a fun way to see both the North and the South Island by coming through Wellington, hopping on the ferry and taking it across. There's only really two main ferry companies, Inter-Islander and Blue Bridge ferries. When we looked online, the Inter-Islander was about 100 New Zealand dollars more expensive than the Blue Bridge. You can buy tickets that have a bit of flexibility in them, and I think that costs about another $50 to $100 to have that flexibility. Or you can just make a decision, say we'll be there, and we got our ticket for about 220 New Zealand dollars. That covers the passage for 2 people and our van. We have about another hour essentially to just chill in the van, maybe read a book, play some guitar, and then we're gonna drive the car into the belly of the ship, and then we'll say goodbye to Wellington and head over to the South Island. I got the ferry station blues today, and I'm waiting on a ferry to take me away. Oh my God.
Here we go.
Now we have to head up to the passenger level, because you're not allowed to stay in your vehicle during the crossing. But we've got books, we got snacks, we got water. I think we'll be all right.
We did a little upgrade, cheeky little upgrade. $40 for your own shower, your own bathroom, your own bed. You don't have to do it, but it is 3.5 hours, so might as well chill a little bit. We've been moving and grooving a lot. It's nice to chill a little bit.
Yes.
Yes.
This is great. $40. We each get a little bed, although one's made, the other is not. Whatever. $40, $20 each. We can have a shower, we can nap,
One's a couch.
get a little privacy.
We can read in peace.
Worth it. All right, and we're off. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are making our way into the Cook Strait. It's the channel that divides the North and South Island of New Zealand. On one side is the Pacific Ocean, on the other is the Tasman Sea. Usually it can be pretty choppy and make for kind of an unpleasant journey, but today the weather is actually cleared up quite nicely. Even though it was raining back in Wellington, the sun's kind of out, and we're making our way across this notoriously choppy bit of water. When we get to the other side, we'll be coming into the Queen Charlotte Sound and making our way to Picton. Really cool. People have swum across this, which is pretty fascinating. But it's a beautiful day. Feels good, and I'm glad we're on our way to the South Island. We've just arrived into the Queen Charlotte Totaranui Sound. It's the easternmost of the sounds in the Marlborough Sounds region. Unreal. We have pine trees and mountains just coming right down to the ocean, and it's this really beautiful turquoise color. All right, back in the car.
We got to the queue pretty early, so it looks like we're gonna be able to get out of here pretty early as well. It's nice that we're not in the very back of the line.
All right, well, we're all checked into our Airbnb. Had a little bit of a cleanup, and now we're gonna head into town here in Picton to grab some dinner. It's dinner time in Picton, and we've come down to Cockle's Kitchen and Bar. Have a little local MOA IPA. Approved. And we're gonna do their famous, world famous seafood chowder. Comes in a big sourdough bread bowl. Gotta love it.
I am really excited about this chowder. It's their famous chowder. It's a seafood chowder. Love me. I feel like we're somewhat of chowder connoisseurs. Whenever we're in a seaside environment, we're always like, let's try the chowder.
Let's chow the chowder.
Let's chow the chowder. I'm excited to try that. Everything sounds really great that we ordered. And I really like that we made the decision to stay in Picton tonight. I think that after the ferry for 4 hours and just kind of getting in at 6 p.m. and unloading and like still having daylight left and having dinner right now, it just feels like the perfect day. It's a good transit day, and it's just comfortable, and it's not pushing us too far to just stay here, and it's gorgeous. This is a beautiful, picturesque seaside town. It's really stunning, and there's lush hillsides all around us. It's beautiful.
And if I knew a way out from here, I'll be waiting for a van to clear customs on a rainy day in Wellington. It's just another rainy day